Hi everyone, welcome to the community classroom. This is Dr. Tracy McCarthy. We're going to be talking a little bit more about ancestry right now, and we're going to be asking some questions to get a better handle on people's perceptions about who their ancestors actually are. Now, we've talked about the groups that we're going to be looking at, but there are just a few questions. We're not going to go in depth about any information about the groups. We just want to have a conversation about who you perceive your ancestors to be. So before we go any further into our discussions, I just want to get some clarity about who people are perceiving themselves to be, or who people are perceiving their ancestors to be. So we're going to get started with these questions, and the question basically is, are these your ancestors? Now, there are conversations going on right now about some of these groups of people that we've talked about before, and there are certain assertions that are being made. And so the question is, how are you understanding these assertions, and how are you understanding these assertions and how they are related to you or not related to you? So the first ancestral question has to do with the narrative of this particular text, and it is Jews and Muslims in British Colonial America. And we've talked about this book and the suggestions in this book, the findings in the book before. And so that's the first question is, are you understanding your ancestors to be the people in this book, the Jews and Muslims in British Colonial America? That's the question. If it's a yes, let's see a show of hands. You can put it in the comment section. If it's a no, you can put that in the comment section. And so you can see this a little bit more clearly. This is a genealogical history. You can see the names of the authors, and it's that same book. And the question is, the narrative that is presented in this book, are you understanding these people to be your ancestors? We're going to ask this question yet again related to another source. Are these your ancestors? Again, if these are your ancestors for either of these texts, you can just put that in the comment section if that's what you believe. And we've talked about this text before also. This is When Scotland Was Jewish, and it relates to DNA evidence, archaeology, and an analysis of migrations. And the question is, are these your ancestors? We're going to take a little detour here and ask this question very specifically for this particular passage in Scripture. Are you understanding these to be your ancestors? And this is Deuteronomy 28. We're going to gain a little bit more clarity here, or give you a little bit more clarity here with respect to that question, are these your ancestors, and the people that are being discussed in terms of those narratives with those two books. And so you have the Sepharad in the Bible, you have Sephar, you also have Sepharvite. This is really Sepharvi, Sepharvi. Remember, when you see that ITE, it's really just E, it's not really IT. And so then you have Sephardi, and so Sephardi and Sepharvi, when you look at some of the betacism dynamics that are going on, this is basically the exact same group of people. Same thing with Sepharvum. It's all the same thing. You've got those B's and D's and V's being interchangeable. And so that's the other question. Are these the people that you are understanding to be your ancestors? And here's a little bit of commentary from the Jewish Virtual Library about Sephardi or Sephardim. You can see that the comment indicates these are those who left Spain or Portugal after the 1492 expulsion. Are these your ancestors? Are you understanding these to be your people? And here's another notation about this group, and it indicates in 638 that only Catholics could live in Spain, and so there was another expulsion sort of dynamic going on with other people who were not considered Catholic. Please make note of the fact that there were significant things going on in another part of the world during the 7th century. And here you can see there's a notation about the Golden Age, and it indicates that the situation for that particular group of people improved significantly in 711 when Spain fell under the rule of Muslim Moors. And that's always very interesting when you see Muslim Moors or Blackamoor, but we will move on. And so the Golden Age for Spanish Jewry is indicated thereafter. And so again, the question is, are these your people? That includes the Muslim Moors and the Jews who were living in Spain at this time. Are any of these your people? Is that your perception? And here you can see this interesting note about 400 years of living peacefully in Al-Andalus. And again, this is related to Spain and that Iberian area. Are these your people? Are any of these people your people in terms of your ancestors? And so here we have some notes about the expulsion of 1492, and it discusses the Marranos or New Christians. And it indicates that the Marranos are also known as Crypto-Jews because they taught their children and practiced Judaism in secret. And you also have the Moriscos, you have the Lancados, the cast out. You have a number of different groups of people going by different names during this time period. So Marranos, Moriscos, Conversos, Ladinos, Lancados. And so are you understanding any of these names to be associated with your ancestors and the practice that went along with this crypto practice? And here you see indications that there was movement from Western Europe by this same group, these groups rather. You have this movement into the Americas with respect to the Inquisition, and then significant settling in the West there. And so the question is, are these your ancestors? Do you understand these people who were practicing their religious beliefs in secret as Conversos, Moriscos, Marranos, Lancados? Do you understand these people to be your ancestors? And finally, with respect to all of the groups that have been mentioned, the question is, are you certain? Remember, knowledge is power. We will be following up. We just want to get some clarity collectively. We can all have some clarity here about what's going on with ancestry and people's perceptions about their ancestry before we move any further into this. Remember, knowledge is power. Take care. See you soon.